afternoon and welcome to the most memorable climax of a Grand Prix season for over 10 years. Yes, it's Lauda versus Hunt for the World Championship. We've got some marvellous extended coverage of this final cliffhanging finish for you, and that's just minutes away. But first, let's recap on this dramatic seesaw season to put today's story into perspective for you. The early part of the season belonged to the reigning champion, Lauda. And when at the end of May he won the Monaco Grand Prix, he had won 5 out of the first 6 to take an overwhelming lead in the championship. 5 wins and a second gave him 51 points. Ferrari teammate Regazzoni was second on 15, and Hunt was nowhere with 6. Hunt had had his problems. At Long Beach in the United States Grand Prix, a controversial brush with De Paya forced his retirement, and victory in Spain was followed hours later by disqualification. His car was 5/8 of an inch too wide. The Paul Ricard circuit staged the French Grand Prix and marked the halfway point in the championship. Crucially, Lauda failed to score for the first time, and more importantly, Hunt won. The Hunt-McLaren appeal against disqualification in the Spanish Grand Prix was upheld, and suddenly Hunt had won 2 races in 2 days. The table now looked like this. Hunt was in the reckoning. He had now accumulated 26 points to Lauda's 52. Next was Brands Hatch, and at the height of a hot English summer, Britain's hero took on the might of Ferrari in front of a huge partisan crowd. Paddock Bend, notoriously difficult. Watch the Ferraris rub wheels. Hunt is quick enough to keep out of real trouble, but his car is damaged. Well, the race was stopped, and during the ensuing 50-minute delay, the McLaren team pulled out all the stops to repair their #1 car, in which Hunt sets out for the second time. Andretti can't start. Amazingly, everyone avoids him, but Hans Stuck takes to the grass. Paddock Bend, and again it claims a victim. At the back of the field, Edwards tangles with Evans, and car 25 retires after 100 yards. Down the long straight to Hawthorne, Lauda can't shake off Hunt. And at Westfields, it's Lauda, Hunt, Regazzoni, Scheckter. Already the average speed is over 115 miles an hour. As lap 45 starts, Hunt makes his move, and behind the trees on Druids, he gives the home crowd what they've been waiting for. The red and white car number 11 is in the lead. On the last lap, the crowd rises to James, a tribute to the first English victory in the British Grand Prix for 18 years. A magnificent win for Hunt, though Ferrari, among others, lodged an appeal against the McLaren straight away. The RAC, however, decided to leave the race with Hunt, and the championship table shows him continuing to haul back Lauda's tremendous lead. Lauda now on 58 and James Hunt on 35. He's halved the Austrian's lead in 3 races, and our hopes of great deeds rise as they did before in the days of our last world champion, Jackie Stewart. A fortnight later, the motor racing world reconvened in Germany at the daunting Nürburgring for Grand Prix number 10. On the second lap, it was tragedy and near death for the world champion Lauda, who is trapped in his blazing Ferrari.
There's Lunger getting out of the surtees and into the flames. 40 gallons of high-octane fuel burn viciously. The American is joined by Guy Edwards and by Harold Ertl, who fight to save Lauda's life. Fire extinguishers are played on the flames. And after 40 seconds, which must have seemed like hours, Lauda is finally dragged clear from the burning inferno. The race, of course, is stopped, and there's a Grand Prix traffic jam. And the wreckage of Lauda's car is hoisted onto a tow truck. Lunger's car is obviously written off. There's the charred wreckage of the Ferrari. And there's the ex-James Hunt car driven by Ertl. That too, written off.
Well, unbelievably, Lauda survived. As you heard, the race was stopped, and it was Hunt who won the rerun in fine style. Lauda's miraculous recovery meant that he'd missed only 2 races, the Austrian Grand Prix, in which Hunt was 4th, and the Dutch, which Hunt won. Now, at the end of August, the table is looking positively rosy for Hunt. On 56 points, he is only 2 behind the champion and has pulled clear of both the Tyrrell drivers. Lauda, after only a 6-week break, staggered the world and his doctors by returning to the track at Monza for the Italian Grand Prix. Here, another problem for James Hunt. A mysterious quibble over octane ratings of the McLaren fuel put Hunt to the back row of the grid. He failed to score, while a badly scarred Lauda finished a courageous 4th, a truly remarkable comeback drive which edged the Austrian into a 5-point lead. By the time the Canadian Grand Prix was due to start, Hunt had suffered yet another reverse of fortune. Following an appeal by Ferrari, motor racing's governing body awarded the British Grand Prix to Niki Lauda, disqualifying Hunt, and thus created overnight a gap of 17 points between the Austrian world champion and his British challenger. Well, the true character of both man and machine were now called to question, since with only 3 races left, Hunt had to drive both consistently and aggressively. Not only had he to finish all 3 races, he also had to win them. Canada's Mosport Park saw a marvellous duel between the Hunt, McLaren and the Patrick Depailler 6-wheeler. Hunt winning by a narrow margin from the Tyrrell. Vitally for the Britain's chances, Lauda was beaten out of the placings. The gap narrowed to 8 points. So to Watkins Glen and the penultimate race of the championship. Once more, there is a tremendous duel between Hunt and a Tyrrell 6-wheeler, this time driven by the consistent South African Jody Scheckter.
Is Hunt going to make a passing move? He's definitely lining up at the end of the straight. Hunt alongside. Now it's all down, and it's through. James Hunt has gone by Jody Scheckter. Now that is a vital move. And there is Lauda in 3rd position. And there Jody Scheckter is back in front of James Hunt. Somewhere Jody Scheckter has managed to slip back, and James trying to pass again. The same place, trying to go around the outside. Will he make it? Wheel to wheel. No, Scheckter still in front. What a battle. Diving out. And he's done it. I think he's done it. Yes, a beautiful manoeuvre. No dirty stuff there, just a beautiful manoeuvre from James Hunt.
9 points for Hunt and 4 for Lauda, who finished 3rd. And so, with today's Japanese Grand Prix to come, Lauda's lead a mere 3 points. What a way to finish the season. Hunt or Lauda? Well, the final chapter will unfold when we bring you extended coverage of this vital race right after the break. Grand Prix, the 16th round of the 1976 World Championship. Well, the drama started long before the race was due to start. The rain that was forecast yesterday came down in torrents, and accompanying it, we had the fog and the mist rolling in from the mountain. The race at this point seemed absolutely out of the question.
Or was it tyre wear?
No, the tyre blew. You see, what had happened, Dickie, from half distance onwards, I knew that I was in tyre trouble, and I wanted to come in and change it, but I lost communication with my pit, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't work out with them whether I should change or not, and I knew they weren't going to last, or it was odds on they weren't going to survive, and I wanted to come in, but I couldn't get a positive signal from them to come in and change, because I didn't know whether I had time. You see, but they were telling me it's flying better to limp round and just try and hold on to my lead, so I slowed right down, just looking for 4th place. I wasn't even trying to win the race for the second half.
And can I just finally ask you, what are your immediate plans now?
I should be getting drunk.
So James Hunt triumphant, having to be satisfied with 3rd place in the race, but those 4 points good enough to make him the 1976 world champion. With me, a man who has been up since 3 o'clock this morning, watching his son claim that victory, or claim the title, and was not allowed to go to Tokyo, his father, Wallace Hunt. Welcome, Wallace.
Thank you.
The superstition was enough to keep you away, was it, from Tokyo?
Well, James asked me not to go. He hadn't done too well when my wife and I were watching him this year in Monza and the British Grand Prix. As you know, I've spoken to him since the race, and I said, all is forgiven. I'm delighted that I wasn't there because you won. May I please come to the next one? And he said, no problems about any more in the future.
Very quickly, can I just ask you about your concerns as you watched that race?
Well, he did make it difficult, didn't he? The first half was marvellous, and we were looking even for a McLaren 1-2 at one stage, and then everything seemed to go to pieces. Once he had the tyre fixed, I was happy again, because we knew it wasn't an engine failure, and I thought he'd win through. But by golly, he ran it close, didn't he?
He did. And now family celebrations today?
Well, the family celebrations have actually started, have they not? 4 of us have spoken to him on the telephone, as you know.
Yes.
And somehow or another, I think we'll have a rather more eventful Sunday than we usually do.
Wallace, thank you very much indeed. So, James Hunt, the 1976 world champion, our congratulations to him, and goodbye from all of us.